This car draws people's attention. Mostly it's vintage folks, usually 2002 owners. They say, oh, I love your 2002, and then they realize that it has 4 doors, and then the whole Neue Klasse story comes into play. And then strangers come up to me all the time too. I just like your car, it's interesting, I've never seen one. What is it? Don't see many of them around. I don't know why, but they're just not around. Then they want to know, is this the way it came from the factory? And I have a 2-liter engine in it and widened the steel wheels, deleted a couple things and added a better suspension and brakes. And they understand after I explain to them what I do with this car a lot, backroad rallies, a track day or two. There's a reason to set up a car that way, to run it stock in that manner, just it really isn't going to be a lot of fun and or safe. And they get it, they embrace that, and they sometimes get to say to me before I get to say to them that I made it mine. My name is Jim Huff, and I drive a 1966 BMW 1600 Neue Klasse. BMW was sort of hurting financially a little bit, and Mercedes-Benz was going to swoop in and take them over. And so they had to get something on the drawing boards that was going to lead to mass sales and production of. They launched this car along with another one, I believe it was a 3200. They made less than 1,000 of the 3200 2-door sport coupe. They made over 300,000 of these 4 doors. Where they are now, I'm not quite sure. They're not too prevalent in the world of vintage cars. The lineage did lead to Bavarias and then the 5 Series, etc. So I think it was a link in that chain. Mind you, this is all pre-2-door 1600 and 2-door ever iconic 2002. It was looked at as sort of a businessman sport cruiser. You don't just drive it to go get groceries, you don't just hammer at it all weekend on the curvy roads. It was just sort of this thing that you could mold and make yours. There's some great old commercials they show of these. It's the guy going on the dinner date and all suited up and driving very proper, and then he opens the trunk and there's his racing gear and he throws it on and goes out and tears up the track for the day. So that's definitely how BMW was pitching it during the exact period they were making them. Delving into the world of BMW 2002s, I stumbled upon some images of some 4-door cars here and there, and I was like, oh, the nose of that car looks like a 2002, and I just didn't pay a lot of attention to it. I was like, oh, that's cool, but it has 4 doors. Never seen one, okay, probably never will. I just thought it was some super obscure thing. And then my wife gave me this present. It was a little die-cast model made in France. I look at it, and the nose, of course, looks very 2002-esque. And then I realize it has 4 doors. So I flip it over, it says 1500 on it. I was like, oh yeah, I remember sort of seeing some of these things in some books and brochures. So I started delving into the 4-door research. I was seeking knowledge and trying to find one. So I started just doing searches, and of course, good old Craigslist produced BMW 1600. I see the image, it's a 4-door. I call the guy, said, hey, I gotta come see this car. He said, I have a couple other people coming to see it, one at 8:30 and one at 9. I said, I'll be there at 8. I get down there at 7:30, see the car. It's pretty much all there body-wise, but it's 3 or 4 colors. The interior is completely sun-rotted out, and I embraced it, and it embraced me in some form. I was just like, here I go from pictures and a model to like seeing this thing full scale. I wasn't gonna walk away without getting that car in some shape or form. This car gets used in several ways. It does highway runs down to LA and Santa Barbara and back, but the more fun aspect of this car is it gets driven on the back roads of California quite a bit. I do a lot of the California back road rallies, and in my own right with a group of friends that drive Alphas, Porsches, you name it, we go just do the back roads a lot on our own, once or twice a month. This car is geared to hang. It hangs in the corners quite well due to the suspension. The beefier brakes help it. And when I need the 2-liter dual 40 Weber carb engine, engine, it steps up to the plate as well. But this car wasn't built for speed. It was built to be sort of quick, but handle really well. I like the end result, and since we finished this car about 3 years ago or so, I haven't really changed a whole lot. I haven't finished a few things, but I haven't changed a whole lot. The setup has stayed as it is. So when I'm driving this car on the back roads, I feel like I'm truly embracing the spirit of the 1960s when this car was in its heyday of rally racing and racing on tracks and doing hill climbs. And so when I'm out doing the twisty roads and doing my own little hill climbs and such, it totally resonates with me, and these images that I've collected along the way and have stashed on my computer and printed out and such, that, you know, they're true period shots showing what guys and gals of that period were doing with those cars. You know, they're not just shots in a parking lot of it sitting still. They're car shots that are in motion, and I embrace that spirit. My future plans for this car involve this. I'm gonna drive it.